Welcome on the morning show for the very first time, the Executive Governor of Lagos State, His Excellency Babajide Sanwo-Olu, to Cool FM. Good morning to you, sir.
Morning, Mannie. Morning. It's just Mr. Governor, you know. Those excellence.
No,
Like that word, but it's Mr. Governor. But it's an honor.
It'll be very impossible, sir, to look forward to the future without looking at the past. In a few days' time, people will go to the polls and cast their votes. And here you are, vying for re-election. Everybody will have questions, and they all need answers. People are looking for credible governance. People are looking for, sustainable leadership. People are looking for solutions to lasting solutions to problems. So if we can reflect on your team, do you think that there are areas where you believe that your administration could have done better?
That's a loaded question, but I think it's also a very, very sincere question, right? And I think I want to thank you for that question. Reflecting back, definitely as a leader, there are things that, with benefit of hindsight, you could have done better. There are things that you could have done quicker, and there are things that you will want to tinker with. So there certainly there are areas in which we can improve on. One of the ones that quickly will come to my head, which I've also picked out, from the campaign trail, it's also our level of engagement, with the youth population. When I said engagement, to ensure that at every hour of a strain, we are fully fiscally engaging ourselves. Not just assuming that they go on your social handle and they've seen what you've done, right? It's just to be able to ensure that, we open our doors, right? And we just continue to, because they want activity, they want that movement, right? So that's one of the things that I've taken up, on the campaign trail. The other thing is, which will be difficult, which you will not expect me to talk about, is issues around, the miscreants in Lagos, the Agbero syndrome and all of that has taken over, unfortunately, and street hawking and street trading, which people talk and there are two faces to that. It has a social, it has an economic issue. At some point during COVID, it also even had a security issue. Those things, and so reflecting back on it, right? The question will have asked, what could we have done more aggressively to be able to halt it? I will tell you, that, a lot of the street traders you see in Lagos, for example, are from one particular state in the country. And instead, a lot of also the Agberos that you see are also from one or two states in the country. But unfortunately, Lagos doesn't have a border post to be able to sift out or reduce the influx of people into the state. Because of the security challenges we have in different parts of the country, people from the other parts see Lagos as a go-to place for them to be able to hike a living. And so when they come, there's been several interviews we've had, right? And they don't have an idea. They just want to stay under the bridge, and they'll probably just believe that by the time they turn it to, somebody carrying loads, somebody will turn up for them. And Lagos has been successful for so many people. So part of the problem is now that they are not documented, and we don't know, when these people come in. Several reports have shown that 100 people every day come to Lagos and don't leave. So where are they staying? Where are these? These are some of the things that have led to, our infrastructure challenges, our social issues challenging. So the answer to the question is maybe that area we need to be able to, profile people properly when they're coming in, not for any negativity, but just so that we can have data and be able to plan, better. So these are some of the things that I think, just in my head that we can plug in, into the new year. So into the new administration, when we get the mandate of the citizens, and be able to do better on. I mean, regular areas around education and health, you can never do enough. You have to build more. You have to do more hospitals. You have to do more roads. Those are generic things that is expected, of you to be done. You have to do more housing. Those are things that infrastructure will always. But the soft side, how do you deal, with communication? How do we deal with, people being able to access you? How do you deal with issues of having a proper feedback mechanism and so these are soft things that is important to people, and we need to be able to create, that space for us to be able to pick it up as we go along.
All right. Thank you very much for the answer. I like the fact that you mentioned documentation, which is a very major, it's a major challenge in Nigeria, documenting citizens generally. So it'd be nice for Lagos State to do something like that, proper documentation of who is coming in and going out. This question I have for you, sir, it's a very big question. It has to do with diversity and inclusion. We just celebrated the International Women's Month. Everyone was talking about it. It was trending. Would you beat your chest and say that, yes, in your 4 years, you have given representation for women?
To be honest with you, I think we have. I can beat my chest. But do we have space for more? I will also say yes. And what are the specific things that we've done? So the whole of this week of March, for example, we've dedicated to women. But in specifics, we have 250 women that have identified as Eco-Inspire Women for the year. So I've given individual letters thanking them for who they are, thanking them for being able to stand out in their chosen profession, and thanking them for ensuring that they are counted, they are identified with, and Lagos is indeed proud of them. Right, that's on the wider scale. But in specifics, if you look at my cabinet, I continue to meet the 35%, equality that is expected, for women there. I must definitely continue to do that. If you look at my list of appointment in permanent secretary, I dare say that there are more women in permanent secretary position in Lagos than anywhere in the country. If you look at my judiciary, there are more women representation in my judiciary in Lagos State than any other state in the country. So we deliberately look out for this. We deliberately look out to ensure that they are, they are included, they are competent and capable. If you look at my agencies, my critical infrastructure agencies, they are all headed by women. In Lamata, in LASEPA, in Ministry of Infrastructure, in school rehabilitation, all of my critical 4 top engineers, that are doing the most difficult work for me are women. If you look at our teaching profession, all of the tutor generals, at any point in time, 4 out of the 6 are women. So as a deliberate policy in my government, I look out for that. And that is how, I've been wired. I'm standing for a picture that has 4 or 5 people. There must be 1 or 2 women in that. It's one of the things that I have come to realize. And it's not just because we want equity, it's because we believe that they have the capacity. It's because we know that they have the competence to be able to do it. So it's not that we're just doing it based on emotion. It's the fact that they're deserving of it, and I want to enjoin, other subnationals to also do it. So yes, we are doing it. We'll continue to do that, and we'll continue to provide that opportunity and ambience, for them to excel and for them to do well.
A leader is first led, before anything happens. Some people are wondering what led you, really, because you started out in the private sector. So what led you into the public sector? What really led you?
Well, I think your audience, they load you with so many questions. And that's also a very good question. It was just chance. It was chance and moment, It wasn't pre-planned. I was a general manager in my bank with my corner office, very quick to correct, government. Government just came in 1999. I think it was in 2002, right? And Ashwaju contacted me through my former managing director, Mr. Fem Pedro at that time in the bank. And I was given an offer to be a special advisor, on corporate matters, So, and I reflected over it. I asked my colleagues, of course, asked my family. And the whole talk was around the fact that, yes, if we all want to make changes, the democracy then, this fourth republic was just about two and a half years old. And we said some of us need to make those sacrifices. So my financial institution also helped me make that decision quicker, for me to say that, Mr. General Manager, go and do this. After a year, if you think that it was a wrong call for you, we'll still try and keep your seat for you. So it was that was how it started, and since 2002, I dare say that it's been a different trajectory. I've been out of government too, and I've been back in there. So for me, it provided an opportunity, a very unique opportunity for me to see things differently. We're always very quick to criticize. So going into public sector and at the medium level leadership position at that time, I started with cabinet member even from day one. I was able to get exposed, to how governance works, right? And very quickly work with the entire hierarchy of the civil service. And these are very, very intelligent, smart people, right? But are limited with the level of experience that they have. So from us coming from private sector, we can actually see that we're wired differently, but we also can achieve the same purpose at the end of the day. So part of the things that I learned is to understand why they do the things they do and be able to express it in a different way. And it's been, a positive learning experience for me, right? And like I said, I worked in a cabinet. I've had different ministerial portfolio from economic planning and budget to commerce and industry to establishment training and pension, and all of it to managing, the biggest property, market for the state. So all of these have been different learning experience that have trajectory, my leadership, covered. And you continue to, train and retrain yourself, whilst doing that. Ensure that you continue to have space for learning, you continue to have, interaction with other leaders, and you continue to ensure that you can still deal with your private sector friends, understanding what are the things they want you to do. You must really, really, really put your ears, on the ground and feel the pulse of the citizens you want to lead. Make sure that you are not just left in your own cocoon and just box yourself up. You must be able to open up and let people have access, to you. So for me, those are the things that have led me in. But it's been a very humbling experience, I dare say. But it's a very unique opportunity for us to grow our state, for us to develop our country, and for us to put Lagos, on that international scale of map where people would know and respect that good things indeed can come, from a country like ours, and we can always project the image of our country, positively anywhere we are.
All right. It will also be fair to say that you have been a management consultant or a management professional at the highest level for a long time. That's on paper. But managing the city is not easy. In the last 4 years, it would be nice if you could, give us a highlight of some of your major accomplishments. Some people say that Lagos State by default can just thrive, even without you doing anything. The Lagos State is wired to just succeed. But here, we would like to hear from you,
So you're right. Lagos has a lot of energy in itself. People come to Lagos and they do well. The population, if you're smart, if you're resilient, you can. But it needs organization. It needs direction. It needs empathy. It needs communication, at the highest level. People need to understand also that there are rules in which we must also be able to continue to live, understanding and appreciating that where your own right ends is where another person's want starts from. So we must share that, that commonality to understand that we're all here together, squeezed up, all tensed up, but we must appreciate that we all have different roles, to play. And that's the whole essence of governance, is to be able to galvanize all of that energy in a positive manner that will see some positive direction, and we'll see a trajectory where businesses can thrive, life can be saved, properties can be saved, and the foreign direct investment can indeed come into that environment and know that their investment, what they see or what they hear from outside is real. In December last year, for example, Lagos was ranked as one of the top 20 destinations globally where entertainment, I'm sure you saw it, where entertainment will thrive in any, Christmas. It wasn't something that just happened overnight. It was a deliberate policy of government to ensure that, the entertainment industry, the music industry thrive. And we are doing all we can to support that industry, for example, on training, giving them capacity development and opening up, that ambient. So in terms of, what government needs to continue to do, and the challenges that I see, running a big city like this, running a city-state like this, it's not a cheap, it's not something easy. A lot of things, you get drawn in. NSAS was a challenge for us. It wasn't something that we created, but was something that came on board. And scripturally, even the Jews never believe, that Jesus was not a criminal, if I dare say that, with all due respect to my Christian faith. It became difficult for people to understand, why things are done in the way they're done, right? I'll give you a simple example now. When a small incident happened in a school in Lekki, that has no direct, implication. I was one that was drawn, out to be able to make the call and took, difficult decision, on that school. There was an ugly incident that happened on a BRT, where a citizen entered a BRT and we lost the patient, we lost the passenger. These are stand-alone issues that bleeds my heart, as a governor, that I have to show a lot of empathy. I have to show a lot, of resilience and lead from the front. These are out of the regular building infrastructure, out of regular building school. But these are small things that indeed you need to put your entire, soul and mind into for you to be able to get the confidence, of your citizens. And there are little things like that. Not to even talk of big ones like COVID, where we had to shut down the entire city, we have to shut down the entire nation just for us to continue to remain safe and understand that our first responders are the critical people we needed to give the skills and give, the right trainings, for. So in whole, right, it's been an experience that have its ups and downs, but okay. In aggregate wise, the city continue to remain, resilient. The city continue to remain, purposeful and positive in its trajectory. And I mentioned, in my other program that in this very difficult 4 years, we're able to double the budget of the states. We're able to double the budget of the states, within that 4 years. We're able to continue to perform our budgetary, functions at 80-85%. We're able to double our WAEC score in education, public education, from 40% to over 80% in that same space of difficult terrain. We're able to grow the GDP of this state, even with those difficult, terrain that we've had in the last 4 years. While the global meltdown economically, we're able to provide that leadership, space for foreign direct investment in trillions. We continue to remain the FDI destination in Africa, especially for tech startups. The truth about the matter is the health system in Lagos is still the best in the country that we have. The unfortunate incident of last week put to test our capacity and our resilient capability to respond to emergency, when our teaching hospital were able to very quickly, dimension and save over 85 lives, at that unfortunate train bus incident. That's a show of the capacity that were built, the redundancy of that capacity in the health sector. But more than that, we're building more fiscal infrastructure. We're building new hospitals. We're renovating existing ones. We're recruiting more doctors. Lagos State has the highest number of medical personnel in the country. And there's a standing instruction that any medical personnel that retires or resigns for whatever form, there's an automatic replacement that the leadership in the health sector have. They don't need to come back to me to replace their health personnel if anybody retires or resigns, for whatever reason. They have the rights, they have the power to recruit. So there's no shortage in that space in terms of human capacity. And like I said, we're building about 4 new hospitals, including a mental health hospital, including a pediatric hospital. And we're building best in class. We're building a research development center that will take care of the types of COVID that happened, and the last time. And we're developing our health insurance scheme. Our Ilera Eco has close to about 1 million, people on it, and we want to advise a lot more citizens to launch in on it. Health insurance is the way to go. It helps with the capitation. It helps with ensuring that, we can do a lot more, even working with the private sector. We have about 130 or 140 private hospitals that are working with us on the Ilera Eco Health initiative, which is our own health insurance, and some of our primary health institutions, we're not only rebuilding them, we're actually re-equipping them, right? Some of them, we're ensuring that they're 24/7. Some of the primary health don't work 24/7, but we're trying to ensure that they can get a lot more to work with. There are about 330 of them that are primary health, facilities that are around in the various parts of the city.
Okay.
So those are some of the things that we're doing, right? But tertiary health institution is still a major challenge, for us. And we're working with some private sector people to develop bigger capabilities in that area.
There are so many questions about security. Even from the trail of the questions we're having from our Twitter page, everybody's asking one security question or the other, either as regards to thuggery, street robbery, traffic robbery. There are tons of questions. People are asking, what are you going to do about security at the micro levels, from Ajah area boys to this boys to that boys to that boys, that they're in so many areas in Lagos State. Is there, in summary, something that's going to be different if you get re-elected as regards to the security apparatus?
So thank you. Whilst not excusing, the security challenges that we have, this is a city that's over 20 million people. In all big cities in the world, there are always little security issues here and there. It's a massive. I get reports on a daily basis of security challenges in different parts. Part of the things that we've said we wanted to do is for us to be able to implement, a constitutional, democracy in a reflective manner that allows the state to have the state police. If that do happen, then we can also wrap up the personnel, on the street. We can put boots on the ground and we can have more. Right now, we have maybe 30, 35,000 police. If it is a state police, we can double that number. So what that means is that we can put people in a lot of corner streets in Lagos and people can see and feel secure. That's a simple low-hanging that we can do. But that constitutionally has not happened, and I don't have control over that. We'll continue to express it. We'll continue to ask the people in federal. We'll continue to ask people in the National Assembly to give us the opportunity to be able to keep our state and our city a lot safer. One. Secondly, you also know too well that there have been different security challenges in every part of the country. South, southeast, northeast. And where do they all come to? Everybody now aggregates back to Lagos. And I talked about the fact that I don't also have a border post to be able to say to people, what are you coming to do? You cannot come in. And when people also come in, they don't have that job that they're expecting just the very next day, right? And I do mind, they say it's what it is, right? So social issues are there that we need to be able to deal with because we need to understand where these things are coming from, right? Social issues are there and we need to be able to tackle them, head on, right? But on a long-term, medium to long-term basis, is really to be able to create job opportunities for these people, in training, in skills development, and bringing them, that opportunity, that golden, opportunity that they think Lagos will provide for them. And also, we need to also be able to, stop any form of criminality. It cannot be allowed. People that are criminal-minded, we also need to be able to fish them out of our system, very, very quickly. Whilst we can explain the economic issues, right, while we can explain, other challenges that we have, which is not peculiar to us, we cannot allow criminality to first. And so that is the commitment that I'm putting on the table, and we'll work with security operatives. Unfortunately, I would want to have full control of security, in my system, but we don't. But we are also using technology to also do that. That's why we're building a smart city. And that's why you're seeing that every part of the city, we're installing CCTV cameras. They're not just meant for traffic management. They're also meant to be able to, have a back-end, security architecture where if incidents do happen, the security operatives can play back those cameras and we can indeed have, a major, deterrent, in that field. And so people should not be scared that I'm doing Big Brother for them and I'm putting cameras everywhere. It's really about ensuring that we can, play back, let's deter even these things from happening in the first place. We can play back and track, what has happened and where it has happened, and we can go after all of these criminal-minded individuals and be able to fish them out of our sight. But more importantly, let's also see how we can build opportunity for them. Let's see how we can create, a space for them to also grow, and have business options, as they go along.
All right, we just want to take a few comments from our portals, Twitter page, and of course our social page here, so we can get some interaction. If you don't mind, sir. This one says, I would like to ask the governor, when will the train get to Ekpe?
So from the master plan, it's not getting to Ekpe right away. The green line is supposed to start from the beginning of Ozumba and get all the way to the free trade zone, which is in Ibejuleki. So unfortunately, it's not in Ekpe, but we think it will. The green line will get to the free trade zone, which is on the master plan. They're doing extensive, feasibility studies, viability study, on that rail line. So they shouldn't give up. So what we've done in Ekpe is we've done a 6-lane highway for there. We're building a highway, super highway from Ibejuleki to Ekpe, so which will increase and improve, their journey time and make it a better experience, for them. So my Ekpe people, don't give up, please. Ekpe is small London now. All the roads we're doing in Ekpe are first class, and they're beautiful roads, for them.
All right, that's a good one. Just a couple of more real quick. This one says, the price of BRT across the state should not go up. This one is from Remy Martins. And this other one says, please, can we ask the governor, the cost of living? Is there anything about affordable housing that he intends to do if re-elected? These are two questions.
Well, yes. I mean, so right now, for the past 3 weeks, going to 4 weeks now, we've actually halved the price of BRT. And it's been a lot of financial burden on us, but it's a good burden that I'm carrying, for all of the BRT operators, and the citizens continue to enjoy because of the currency issue and the hard economic issue that we have. They continue to enjoy a 50% discount on the BRT. That hasn't stopped. So my citizens, thank you. I mean, and continue to just enjoy the 50%. We will not increase it. In fact, we'll reduce it. For you. We understand and we know that things are pretty difficult right now. Regarding housing, so the model that we've adopted, which we'll also rethink again, is to date we've actually been able to commission about 17, small and medium-sized housing estates. And some are actually affordable. It's all around ensuring that we can put a mortgage scheme around them. And they are existing. We can say that, yes, maybe the stock is not enough, to go around. But the people need to believe that we are not, we're not lying about the fact that it's open to all of our citizens if they go to the Lagos Homes scheme, right? 17 housing estates, some with 700, flats, some with 300, some with as little as, 120, flats. And part of the challenge that we have, in Lagos is also the texture of our land, right? Because of our land texture, right? The cost in our view, in our estimate, I bit, higher than you will get from other neighboring states that have farm ground, our own soil structure in Lagos is a bit marshy. So it increases the cost, of our construction. The amount of money that we need to even put under the ground before the real infrastructure comes up is a lot. So that is where we're trying to be very creative and look for other, cheaper engineering solution that can bring about, a reduction in the total cost of, building this housing. And we want to also partner with the private sector. We want to ensure that we can also get, deep, long funding private sector that can partner with us, right? And they can develop, this housing on a larger scale, for our citizens. And we're also looking at, partnering with our neighboring state. Unfortunately, it's only Ogun State that we have at this instant in which we can also go into their state and also be able to, partner some massive housing estates, with them. So these are plans that we have that will continue to push on. But to date, we've delivered, quite a decent number of, housing for our citizens.
Well, I must say that it's been very, very interesting talking to you, sir. I really appreciate the insights so far, so good. We are Cool FM, a music-centric radio station. This one is from us to you. What do you listen to on a lighter note?
Oh, me on a lighter note. Right now is Who Is Your Guy by Spyro. Oh, yes. I'm following up with my people. I love the song.
That's a very good one. We'll end this interview with "Who's Your Guy" for you, sir. Well done.
Yes.
Thank you, and all the best in the election, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right, there you have it. We just have to end the interview now. That was the Executive Governor of Lagos State. What did you take away from the interview this morning? Let us know your thoughts. We're sending you the 5